Yes, partners in crime.
Partners in crime?
Yes, it was really it was more of a sort of social centre, I think, at the time. At the time, that Queen was sort of in its formative stages, and we were going through all their traumas with trying to find somebody to manage us and find a record company, etc. We sort of slogged our way around, made some demo tapes, etc., through some friends, and then sort of hawked them around the business, as it was, and still is, eventually sort of securing ourselves several companies who were interested. We then did a gig, I think it was at King's College, somewhere down in South London, and got a load of record companies along, and then we started to sort of try and wheel and deal a bit our way into a sort of good recording situation.
How long did it take you from the time that you'd made the demo to the time that you actually got a recording contract?
It felt like about 80 years, I think.
It was a long time. It was about 2 years.
Yeah, it was about 18 months, 2 years, yeah.
There was a great deal of feeling of frustration at the time. The first album was really old songs by the time it came out, as far as we were concerned. And it put us in a strange position because there were we were sort of one of the groups who came along with the show and an idea of a complete production as a stage show and everything. Whereas by the time the record came out, and particularly by the time it got played by anyone and all this, it takes so long to get things going, it was all sounding like old news, so people were inclined to tag us as the tail end of glitter rock or something.
We've had a fairly sour relationship with the music press, as it's called in this country.
You don't like the music press, I understand?
No, to be perfectly honest, no.
But from the very sort of beginning, I think, as far as the musical press is concerned, even now, they like to sort of put sort of up-and-coming bands into a sort of particular bag for what they think. And I think we sort of just rebelled. We wanted to sort of do what we thought was right and not sort of go along with what they were saying. And I think since the very early stages, there's always been this sort of fracas between...
Yes, it started from day one with the release of our first album. Plus the fact that before our first actual release, we were virtually totally unheard of, and then suddenly we were not particularly famous, but heard of at least. And they always like to think they've got one up on you, and they always like to think they've predicted something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there we were, and we were playing to quite a lot of people, and it took people rather by surprise, I think.
Was this style, though, that you had created, was that thought out from the outset, or did it just evolve as time went by?
There were certain kind of ideals which we had in our heads, definitely certain patterns that we wanted to try and live up to. And I think, to put it crudely, we started off thinking that we wanted to be a kind of heavy group, but with good melodies and with good harmonies. And the other thing is